Hey Bernd, I'm in my 30s now. I practice with your videos every single day because I want to reach a professional level and actually go on tour and play with bands. But everyone is telling me that it's too late and that you have to start when you're 10 years or much younger in order to reach a very professional level on the instrument. Is that true? Is it really too late for me? Those are some messages you guys and girls sent me on Patreon in my Guitar Academy on patreon.com/Bernd. There's this myth that's floating around out there that you have to start guitar when you're like 5 years old and practice every single day for, I don't know, 8 hours in order to become a real virtuoso or just a professional working musician. But if you subscribe to this channel and you followed my personal guitar journey, you know that I 100% believe that it's just a matter of discipline and of working on the right exercises, and that it's never too late to pick up a guitar or to really start working towards a professional career in music as a guitar player. The only thing I do have to say is it won't happen by itself, so you have to put the work in. So if you're on board with this and you want to learn something truly life-changing today, allow me to show you the one shortcut that will save you years of frustration and practice time. The number one thing you should work on right now is fixing your bad timing. Because especially if you want to go pro, you need to play perfectly in time, and this applies to any playing style, any genre of music. This is where it all comes together. You have to master this, and once you laid this important foundation, it's never too late to develop more specific virtuosic or theoretical skills. But if this is lacking, you have no chance. I'm sorry to say it that bluntly. So let me show you some amazing exercises to get started. Probably the most helpful ones I ever shared on this channel. Here's this week's exercise number 1. Alright, so that first exercise is really interesting, and you will hear exactly why if I play it to you without any drums or backing tracks. So when I play just like that, it sounds like I'm playing the same thing twice, like the exact same note duration. But what I'm actually doing, if you already checked out the scrolling tabs when I was playing the exercise to the backing track, is switching between 8th note triplets and 16th notes. Usually that would be a very audible difference, of course, something like this. But since there's a tempo change whenever I'm changing those note values, so as you can see, the 8th note triplets are in a different tempo than the 16th notes. There's no audible difference when it comes to the note duration or the note length. And that's exactly what metric modulation is all about. So to keep it simple, those 8th note triplets that I was playing, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, were exactly as long or as short as the 16th notes that I was playing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you only hear that differently because of the drums that are playing in the background. So for the first beat, the drums are clearly accentuating those triplets. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then in the second half, they're clearly accentuating those 16th notes. So groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And this is an incredibly important and helpful timing exercise because it makes you think about music completely different. Because when you play this exercise for the first time, you will probably accentuate the triplets like this. So very strong accents on that first note of each group of 3, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you will play the 16th notes like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But to make this timing exercise as effective as possible, I want you to focus on practicing this with no articulations at all. When you practice metric modulation exercises like this, you will start to feel the notes more freely and they will fall into place on the grid. And after practicing those exercises for just 20 to 30 minutes a day, you will see absolutely significant improvements whenever you're recording guitar or when you're just practicing to a metronome. You will suddenly play much better in time. Alright, my friend, if you're actually serious about all this and you want to take your skills to a professional level, you need to do a little bit more than just watching those YouTube videos that I post right here. You actually need to sit down and practice, and I want to actively help you with that. Because if you want to make significant progress, you need to fill your practice time with the absolute best exercises out there. That way you will make more progress with a daily 1-hour routine than other people that practice 4 or 5 hours each day. There's a significant difference, and with the right exercises, you can 10x your progress instead of wasting your time on stuff that simply doesn't work. That's what my online guitar academy on patreon.com/burned is all about. My students over there get access to my premium guitar technique courses that come with structured practice plans that tell you exactly what to practice. You even have access to some really helpful theory courses over there, especially aimed at self-taught players that never learned any theory, and some home recording courses as well. And I even offer some limited personal coaching slots over there. With those you get access to my secret VIP Facebook group where I'm giving you feedback on your technique and on your guitar journey, telling you what to practice, what to improve. So it's a real no-brainer if you're still not part of the world's biggest guitar academy on Patreon. Do it right now with the link in the description. If you want to go pro, you don't have much time left, so please use your time wisely. Click the link down below. I'm waiting for you inside. But for now, let's continue with the video. So let's check out what the next level of metric modulation is all about. This is exercise number 2. Alright, the second level of those metric modulation exercises I want to show you today is switching every single measure. Because with the first exercise you had quite a lot of time until that crazy switch was happening. Up next we're playing one measure in each tempo or with each note value. And once again, this is really supposed to melt together for the listener. It should sound like this without the backing tracks. So in the middle of what I played to you, I actually switched from triplets to 16th notes. I could feel that with my inner click, but you probably couldn't feel or see it if I did my job correctly. And as you can see in the notation of this exercise, this is when we have to start to get a little bit creative with the time signatures. In the first measure, everything fits perfectly because we're playing 8th note triplets, 4 groups of 3. But if we want to keep that exact pattern going into the other direction, we have to switch to a 3/4 time signature to fit the notes, because 12 8th note triplets fill 1/4/4 measure, but 12 16th notes do not fill a 4/4 measure. We will do even crazier stuff in just a minute, but for now, once again, please make sure to avoid these kind of accents whenever you're practicing this second exercise. So clearly accenting those triplets or the 16th notes on the way back down. You want to feel those note values in your inner clock and you want to be aware that you're switching between them, but put on your rhythmic poker face and hide those dynamics and play it just like this to really get the most out of this second exercise timing wise. All right, let's take this to the next level. Metric modulation is only getting started. Here's the really awesome third level and exercise for you. Alright, and for the next level, we want to extend this to 3 notes per string. So once again, I'm starting out with triplets. I'm avoiding those dynamics again, but the interesting thing right now is that I'm not completely mirroring this scale run when I turn around the direction. I actually start from the second note, so I'm not repeating that highest note of the scale. I'm going to the note that follows that right away once I get to the 16th notes to add some extra challenge timing wise. So I'm turning around the direction right here. This is where I switch to the 16th notes. That way I can also fit everything into 1/4/4 measure, at least that 16th note part. And it only goes down to B and not down to A on the 5th fret. So the first note of the next measure is when we go back to the triplets and where you play A right here. This is really, really cool because you kind of feel like the metric modulation is happening in between the scale run. So this one is more challenging, and that's the one that I'm currently using in my practice routine, not only because I love 3 note per string phrases, also because it really challenges my timing. When you really focus on not dragging or rushing when those transitions are happening, and you focus on keeping the exact same note length, although you're playing different note values, your timing will improve drastically if you're consistent with practicing this. Alright, and for the final level I have something super challenging for you. This is for the overachievers, and I'm actually in touch with some of you in the personal coaching group on Patreon. I'm super proud of all you hard workers, you're absolutely crushing it, and I'm sure you will give this one a try. So this is gonna be quite hard because we're playing 4 notes per string right here. So that's the first half of this exercise, playing those descending 16th notes. Concerning the stretching, it starts out relatively easy because you're playing high on the neck, but with the next shape on the B string, it's getting a little bit more tricky. With the shape on the G string, it's starting to get very tricky because you really have to use your weaker fingers right here to play G on the 12th fret and F sharp on the 11th fret, but your other fingers have to move down here to play E and D. So that's quite a weird stretch with a gap in between, so to say. This is what that looks like. And then I guess the most challenging part is extending the 4-note per string pattern down to the D string like that. You once again have that awkward gap in there, so this is quite tricky. As always, keep the position of the thumb behind the fingers in mind. It's supposed to support your fingers from behind the fretboard, so if it peeks out like this, it will be completely impossible to play 4 notes per string. So if you're not familiar with playing 4-note per string phrases, just take your time and memorize every single pattern and practice them individually. That's the pattern for the high E string, for the B string, the tricky one for the G string, and the tricky one for the D string as well. As if that isn't hard enough already, you have to switch to 8th note triplets in the second part of the exercise. Once again, metric modulation, the tempo changes and they're exactly as long as the 16th notes. But this is going to feel really, really weird because I think a lot of you are not used to playing triplets in groups of 4 or actually in any grouping instead of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. What I mean by that is that you're still playing 4 notes per string, but you're playing triplets. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It feels super wrong to count it out loud while playing 4 notes per string and you're counting until 3. And maybe you spotted the next huge challenge already. This results in a pretty weird picking pattern, and I'm actually ending with a downstroke, and then the next note, when I switch back to the 16th notes, is a downstroke again. That's not a mistake in the notation. I'm sure a lot of people will comment or write me on Patreon. With some metric modulation patterns, when things get really, really crazy, you will have a couple of down and up strokes in a row if you want to keep the exact same pattern going and repeating. I'm not really using any kind of super special technique for this. I'm just playing 2 quick downstrokes in a row when things are getting a bit faster. Take your time with internalizing those patterns. This one is really, really tricky, but you're combining tricky alternate picking with metric modulation, with stretching with your picking hand, with odd time signatures because you're playing a 5/4 measure, and with dynamic picking patterns and problem solving when it comes to that. So it's a super effective one for your practice routine. All right, my friend, it's time to grab your guitar right now and to actually practice. Download this week's practice package by just clicking the link down below, patreon.com/burn. As always, you get slow and fast play along videos so that you can practice together with me. You get backing tracks with and without my guitar, a helpful guitar profile, PDF tab sheets, and access to all of my premium guitar courses once you join my academy. So I'm waiting for you over there. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.